Hiya, well my name's Graham Payne, General Manager at Cleobury Mortimer Golf Club, and I just want to talk a little bit this afternoon for a few minutes about the greens. It's perhaps the most important part of the golf course, the greens. It can make or break your game, whether they're putting quick, slow, bobbly or soft. But this time of year is actually perhaps the most critical time of year for the greens, because especially after the winter we've had, which has perhaps been the coldest winter for 30 years, so they tell us. We've got an awful lot of snow on there. And you can see now the greens, they're just starting to grow. We need a soil temperature of 4 degrees Celsius to get the grass plant growing, which means we need a daytime temperature of anything between 6 and 8 degrees to get that soil temperature up so that the grasses start to grow. But what you'll find very often on golf greens in this country in the springtime, we get very uneven growth, which can give rise to a more of a bobbly green, and that's because we have anything between 6 and 8 types of grass growing on an average green. You get bent grasses, fescue grasses, and meadow grasses, and they all grow at a slightly different rate, and they all start growing at slightly different temperatures. Therefore you get this sort of different grass growth rates, creating a bubbly green. There's actually nothing we can do about that. We just have to wait for the weather to warm up and to get the even growth, when we can start mowing and controlling that growth at an even level and getting a more smooth green. A couple of things we do, we put in our first little bit of fertiliser on. You can see those that have been playing recently, they've had their very first... You alright? Yeah, sorry Dave, I thought you'd also... We've had our first little bit of fertiliser on there, which is a very low level of iron and nitrogen, which just sort of kick-starts the growth when the temperature comes up. The iron's there to harden the green, which helps the grass become more resistant to disease, which again, when you've had a cold and a very snowy winter like we've just had, the greens can be very susceptible to disease. You get little patches of fusarium, snow mold, something like that, which can cause these little bare patches. Very often the grass will just grow out of that and become healthy again, but that's something to look out for this time of year. But really, the main thing we want is the sun to shine, the temperature to start to rise, the fertiliser to kick in, we get an even growth then, and we can start cutting the greens regularly. This time of year we're cutting at 6mm, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. As we build up into the spring and the summer, the frequency of cutting will grow. We maybe in the summer we cut 7 days a week, but as we go in the spring it might be 2, 3, 4 times a week, and that's when you get a more consistent putting surface and a much nicer surface to putt on. It'd be great if all the golfers repaired their pitch marks. You can see there's one there that hasn't really been done, and there's the remains of a pitch mark there which damaged the grass. That won't grow back so quick, so it's always useful if you repair your pitch mark and maybe one other. There's always one there that needs repairing, so that